let me just start by asking, you guys released a lyric video for Unwelcome recently. Let's start there. Why was the song chosen, who chose it, and why go the route of a lyric video?
To be honest with you, the label kind of took care of all that. So I really had very little to do with the lyric video or songs chosen for the lyric video, or you know, it's kind of like I probably surprised anybody when lyric videos got. So, but I'm glad they did it. I think they came out pretty cool.
I was actually going to ask about the quality of the lyric video. That usually, like, a lot of labels and bands seem to be sinking in a lot of time and money towards the graphics of the video. The one for Unwelcome seemed very basic. Are you guys happy with just a very basic video and not one of those flashy ones with all the animations and whatnot?
Yeah, actually, I'm myself not a fan of lyric videos. I mean, I've seen a few that I thought was like, oh, yeah, that was done well, but it really does kind of seem like a, I don't really have the vocabulary to say this without, maybe sounding rude, but it kind of seems to be like a cop-out as opposed to trying to create like a full-on music video for a lot of things. I'm sure even though I'm sure they can get pricey and flashy, it's still got to be cheaper than, paying to have a camera crew and, devising all these scenes, et cetera, which we did just shoot a video for Scorn Star a few weeks ago. So that should be edited and out soon as well. So we did go the route of a traditional music video for this album as well, in addition to the lyric videos. I think those were just more of like a promotional thing for the label. I don't think they were meant to be like the official, like definitive videos for those songs by any means. I think it was just like, instead of just being able to download MP3, like let's throw up some lyric videos as well. So.
Hey, they seem to work. Has the lyric video helped you out in any way to promote Unwelcome? Like, have you been getting a lot of positive reinforcement based on that song? Because like you just mentioned, Scorn Star, you also had an audio stream for that one going.
Yeah, we did. The feedback that I've heard has been altogether, I think, very positive. There's always going to be that guy out there. It's just like Celebration of Guild was the best thing ever, and like, so I guess you can't make everybody happy, but I think in general people seem very pleased. So, it is what it is. We made the album that we wanted to make, and we stand behind it. So, I hope people enjoy it.
Well, has there been a varied reaction between the two songs, between Unwelcome and Scorn Star? Have fans been liking one song more than the other?
Not really. I think everybody is just so happy that, we're kind of returning to more of, I guess, for lack of a better word, like classic Arsis sound that, I haven't really seen too many people favoring one over the other. So I think that general consistency is, it's not good for the devil, so I love it.
You just mentioned that you just finished wrapping up the video. I just saw on your Twitter page about that. How'd that go? What was it like working on the video for Scorn Star?
Oh, it was awesome. It was, just to be honest with you, it was just like a big party. We shot it with Scott Hansen, who worked with like Carnifax and was like Unearthed and bands like that. We had about 4 or 5 different special effects artists and area with it, and we did like an open for people to do like different bits throughout the video. So we had like 70, 80 like Arsis fans show up, and everybody was kind of tailgating. It was kind of like a show. It was just like a big party. It was fun.
Is there some kind of concept or running theme with it, or are you guys just going with the traditional, live performance, traditional performance captured on tape?
A concept to it. I don't want to give too much away, but there were like 15 gallons of blood and 15 pounds of raw beef there, so it's kind of messy. I think everybody needed a shower when it was all done.
Well, I think you just revealed most of the plot to every metal video at this point.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about promotional aspects of the album. I see you guys are going on tour at the end of this month. What are you guys doing to get ready? Are you just kind of kicking around, relaxing, or you got any rituals or anything you guys are doing to prepare?
We're all kind of doing our homework on our own, trying to practice what we can, making sure everybody has everything that they need for tour as far as, have their parts learned already, or at least, the tools they need to get the parts down. Making sure all the merchandise is ordered and, being shipped out properly. Making our transportation arrangements, that sort of stuff. Working as much as we can, trying to, that sort of stuff. So.
I noticed you guys just got added to Nashville, Tennessee, the other day, I think it was. Are the powers that be still looking for more dates for you guys, or would you say this is the last one you're booking for this run?
Yeah, I mean, the tour with Hypocrisy ends on May 21st in San Antonio, Texas, and then we have this band Rock Fest on June 1st in Memphis, Tennessee. So instead of flying Sean back to Portland, Oregon, just to fly him back out for one show like 8 days later, we were just kind of fill in some of the gaps and make a little bit more sense for us as a band. So that's why it's like, additional dates were added. But at this point, I think it's like home of books, for June 2nd. So we're kind of, that's it.
What's up with the schedule? It seems like you guys are just going in and out of the U.S. and to Canada constantly this time around. I mean, is that how it usually is for you guys? I haven't really noticed that for many bands until recently.
I've seen a few tours go that route. What we did with Arch Enemy a few years ago was basically like the same routing as this. This one goes maybe a little bit longer into Texas, but that one, started in like DC area and then ended in LA, and it was only like 2.5 weeks long, and a lot of it was in Canada, in and out through, across the top of the country that way. And this one, like I said, it goes a little bit longer into Texas, but it's routed very much the same way. So, I don't know if this is like, they're both European bands that, I've seen routing go this way. I don't know if they, just want to avoid the South altogether, or if they feel like there's stronger markets in Canada for metal. I'm not really sure what the logic is behind it. But it is, I guess it is what it is.
Yeah, I guess so. Do you guys prefer doing those kind of tours, or would you just rather a simpler, straightforward tour schedule?
Crossing borders can always be stressful. So I guess the fear of crossing for me, the better. But, nobody in the band has a criminal record or anything like that. But I do like the South, so I don't see why, there aren't more tour dates, even through like Alabama and places like that. I think, I would like to, do a tour that was, pretty straightforward and kind of hit different places, even be markets. So hopefully we'll get to do one of those on this touring cycle. But, unfortunately, the bands have, we especially have very little control over which cities get booked and why. So it's, it's just where the market is for the metal.
Yeah. All right. Well, what can your fans expect out of you on this tour? I mean, is there a confirmed set list or any visual things you plan to do on stage, or any songs off Unwelcome you plan to unveil to anybody in the crowd?
Oh yeah, we're actually going to push the material off Unwelcome quite a bit. We all feel very strongly about it. I think it would hold up better live than a lot of the material off the past couple albums, to be honest with you. So we are definitely going to be pushing that pretty hard. Visually, we plan on doing a little bit more maybe than we have in the past, but not, there's never been theatrics in Arsis, and I don't see it at any time soon, like, going that route either. So, there's not, nothing super out of the ordinary.
Okay. And one thing that I've been seeing a lot on online is people hoping you guys would play your earlier demo material. Is there any chance that they'll get their wish this time around?
I wouldn't have a problem with doing that. Well, that's not really something we have discussed at this point, but I wouldn't rule it out.
All right. How about summer festivals? I see the Scion Rock Fest June 1st. Are there any others confirmed or you guys are looking into?
To be honest with you, we got on the booking end of the touring cycle for this kind of late as far as doing like summer festivals. We did have a few offers for Canada, I think like later in the summer, but as far as like, heading over to Europe and doing like the full on, summer festival touring circuit over there, I think that's pretty much out of the question for us, unfortunately, at this point. So.
You mentioned earlier that you guys were kind of veering towards the original Arsis sound, and definitely seems like you were. You were going a darker route this time with the album. Why did you decide to journey back to some of the earlier material and darker atmospheres?
Um, it kind of felt natural this time around to write in that style. I don't think I had anything like really in my head, like, oh, this needs to sound like this or this needs to sound like that. With We're the Nightmare, I definitely had it in my head that, oh, this needs to be super technical. So, therefore, a lot of that album sounded overly technical. And I think with Stuff of the Devil, it was like a complete utter rejection of like being overly technical, and it was maybe a little bit too stripped down. And this time around, like, I've been out of like metal and touring and even listening to music really for about a year before I started writing. So I just kind of came in it with a pretty clear head as far as that as clear as my head can get, and just kind of started writing what just kind of came naturally for me to do. So and kind of ran with it. So I'm happy with the end result, and I said earlier I do stand behind it.
So basically, staying away from metal for a little while helped you write metal. I mentioned the darker material on the album. There were also some that weren't really that dark. There were some that were, I can't say upbeat, but more melody-driven. I heard traces of bands like Carcass and Arch Enemy. What's with that varying atmosphere? It's like, I think half the album's kind of dark, and then the other half is just solid melodic death metal that doesn't really care too much about the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. Really, I was like, I kind of would tend to disagree with you, like, a little bit. I mean, I think there's like a couple of songs that maybe are like a little bit more, like you said, melody driven, or just kind of like a little bit more straightforward. I think that was just kind of like to break things up a little bit for my own. If anything, just too much of one thing can get monotonous. So, but I wouldn't just see it as being like half and half necessarily. I don't know.
It was more variety than anything. I was just curious why you went that route. And it's not bad.
Yeah.
I don't mind it at all. I liked both directions.
Mm-hmm. So,
I'm sure you've been asked this a lot today, but why sunglasses at night? Why did you decide to cover that?
Noah had been talking about wanting to cover that song basically as long as I've known him. So, one day we were finishing up some pre-production for Unwelcome, and I went over to his house, and he had recorded like the intro into like the first couple riffs of the song, and the kind of more death metal style. And I was like, "This is awesome! This is fun!" So we just kind of sat around and hammered out some more ideas, and it came together rather quickly, and kind of seemed like a fun thing to do. So, but coincidentally, like, not a lot of reviewers or interviewers who really even caught that it was a cover. So, I was kind of rather embarrassed that some people were just like, I don't know why James Malone is singing about sunglasses. Even our producer, when we sent over the pre-production for the album, was just like, James, I don't know about these lyrics, man. I wear my sunglasses at night. Like, it's a little corny. I was just like, dude, it's cover, really? It's not. It went over so many people's heads. So, either we were like super effective at what we were trying to do and like really made that song our own, or like we completely failed. I'm not really sure. So, it's just kind of something fun to do. I mean, I know it'd probably be a lot cooler if we, covered something about like Testament or Death, or I don't know, Morbid Saint. But Sunglasses at Night is what it was.
I just have to ask, though, were there any complications between you and the label with that song, or even where it's placed on the album? Because you did put it smack dab in the middle of the album, and I'm just curious, like, were they trying to nudge you to, no, let's make this a bonus track. No, bonus song.
Yeah, well, I think if they had it their way, it would have been a bonus song. But we were pretty insistent, like, no, we're pretty proud of the cover. We want it, like, smack dab in the middle of the album to see if anybody figures it out. So, yeah. We just kind of stuck to our guns on that one. And I don't know. I guess I'm glad it ended up where it is on the album. So, kind of like a little joke. So.
You said it was fun to do that one. Are you guys going to be doing any more covers like that? Any more obscure 80s classics?
I would love to. I've been talking about it a little bit with Brandon and some of the other guys. So I mean, we'll see what happens. I would also like to, cover some metal tunes as well. I think it'd be like a whole lot of fun at one point just to be able to do like a covers EP or something just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed like putting a different spin on other people's material, and we'll see what happens. I wouldn't be opposed to it though.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to ask you about, Handbook for the Recently Deceased. Okay, Beetlejuice reference, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, how much of the song is a Beetlejuice reference, or is it just the title? Because I don't have any of the lyrics here.
It had absolutely nothing to do with Beetlejuice. I'm not clever. No, honestly, like, the words recently deceased were in the lyrics, and I was just like, I'm calling this song the Handbook for the Recently. And we'll see how many people actually, like, pick up on the Beatles conclusion. That was completely intentional.
Okay.
I don't know. I kind of have a sense of humor. I know we're a death metal band, but I don't know. I just kind of take everything with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
So.
Nothing wrong with being a little lighthearted at times.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Perhaps we were a little too lighthearted with Force to Rock, but it was, I try to have a sense of humor about everything.
Yeah. Well, the only way you can get through life at this point.
I think so.
I did read that you guys have a digipack version. It's going to have the bonus disc, which is the entire Lepers Caress EP you put out on Scion AV. How did this combination come about?
Well, to be honest with you, we the Lepers Caress EP came out. We recorded that after Unwelcome. Actually, we were finishing up recording and mixing Unwelcome, and we got approached by Scion AV to do an EP, but they wanted it to coincide with the Sonata Arctica tour that we did in December. And this being the case, it kind of put us at a deadline of, wow, we really have less than a month to write and record this thing. So you can imagine we were a little bit stressed out. Basically the way it works is, we did the EP for them, and after 3 months, it was kind of ours to do with, and we thought it would be a nice feature to add it as a bonus for the deluxe version of the album, because there's some people that like to have physical copies of stuff, and we had quite a few emails of people like, hey, I wasn't able to make it out to a show to get a free copy of the EP, is there any way we can work this out? So we thought it would be a good thing to have, as bonus material for people. So
Hey, but I didn't even notice that EP had come out at some point. I guess I just never got the message or something. I just checked it out, and like you said, you were pressed for time. I noticed the audio quality on the EP wasn't the strongest. Would that be the reason why, or did you by chance have a lower budget going into the studio to get it done? Because it seems like the music is just a little restrained. The songs sound fantastic. It's just the audio is a little restrained, and that was the problem for me, at least.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 110%. With Unwelcome, we had, done months of pre-production, followed by, a pretty intense, month of recording. And with Lepers Caress, like I said, we had less than a month to put the whole thing together and get it recorded. So it was very much all right, this is as much time as we got, get in there and do it. So with the time constraints, there was less time to really refine things and get it exactly the way we wanted. I think Zeus did a fantastic job mixing it, and we tracked it on our own. We didn't track it with a producer. We did go to a studio, and we did have an extra set of years there, but it wasn't quite as intense of process as I think any of us would like to it to have been. So, it is what it is. We all kind of breathed a sigh of relief when we got it done. We were like, wow, we got away with it. So, I do like some of the material on there. I think Stop and Slide is pretty strong too. Pretty strong song. I think the kind of Danny Elfman-ish song on there that I originally wrote in college as a string quartet, and then arranged it for Arsis, came out fantastic in the end. Maybe at some point it would be nice to revisit that. Maybe tweak it a little bit. It had. I'm happy with the way it came out. So that it is just like something extra on the deluxe edition of the CD for people that have, kind of a collector's thing, I guess.
I'm just curious on this one too. For the bonus disc, you re-recorded "The Face of My Ignorance." Why'd you decide to re-record that one for like 2013?
Just why not? Like, I don't know. It's kind of one of the, I guess, like flagship Arsis songs, and I was never super happy with the production on the original. I know a lot of people do like that album, and I guess the raw production of that album, but me myself, I was never like really a fan of it. So it's just I don't know, it's kind of fun, why not? I think the re-recorded version came out fantastic myself. So
So it's just going to be more a production thing. The song itself is not going to be that dynamically different compared to the original.
No, not at all. All the parts are pretty much, guitar-wise, are very much the same. I know, Sean stuck very close to what Mike did. I think, certain things are beefed up and be a little bit more brutal than the original, but it's all in all not vastly different performance-wise. But the production is just like so much heavier. So I don't know. I think it kind of made the song exciting for me again. So.
Okay. I haven't really seen anything about a vinyl pressing yet. Will Unwelcome be getting a vinyl treatment at some point?
I would like for it to. Our last album, Star for the Devil, did have a limited vinyl run. They did it on red-colored vinyl. It actually looked really good. I don't own a copy myself, but I've seen my mom. So, I really hope it does, because the artwork that Riddick did for this is pretty fantastic, in my opinion. And I was like, there's just something about seeing an album cover on vinyl that's like so much different than, a CD or, other different forms of media. So I would like for it to. I guess we'll just see what Nuclear Blast decides to do. But if they ask my opinion or one of my 2 cents, I would be like, yes, but I don't want to see this on vinyl. So
if there ever is a vinyl pressing of this album, is there more artwork to it that the vinyl would expand on?
I'm sure the label, honestly, if they asked Riddick, he would kindly expand upon the artwork if they asked him to do so. To my knowledge, he didn't do too much additional artwork to what is in the CD, but I know for some of like the Willis Hip reissues of the albums or the vinyl pressings for that, he went back and revised the artwork, did additional artwork. So I'm sure that could be arranged for this one as well.
Do you know what the inspiration behind the artwork was? Because when I look at it, I'm picturing early first wave black metal kind of bands like Merciful Fate and groups like that. I mean, was that sort of like the goal you were going for with it, or no?
Yeah, well, with Muck Riddick, I found kind of the best thing to do with working with him is just give him the album title and maybe a few lyrical themes that may repeat throughout, and just kind of let him do his Mark Riddick thing with it. There were a few album covers where I was very specific, I think this imagery should be in there, or that, this, that, and the other, and I've found that it usually comes out better when he has free reign to do what he wants. I think we made some suggestion of a cathedral or something very general to it for the artwork, and it just came out completely disgusting. So it does have a very old school black metal type, very stark foreboding feel to the imagery.
Just gotta ask, is there anything I didn't really talk about that you'd like to mention real quick before I let you go?
Oh, no, not at all, man. Not at all. I really appreciate you taking the time to do the interview.
Hey, no problem. Thank you very much for calling me again such late hours.
Yeah, no, it's not a problem. Charles tried to schedule as many interviews today as he could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the original schedule he sent over to me said something like 10:30, 10 o'clock. So she was like, well, that's really late for an interview, but I think I've done them later than that before. So,
yeah.
that's not a problem.
All right, well, thank you very much for calling, James. Really appreciated. Wish you luck on the tour. Hope all goes well.
All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. And, hope to see you at a tour stop. Bye-bye.